as you have progressed throughout your career, what what skills, either soft skills, hard skills, what skills have you found have served you really well? What are the things that you've learned throughout your career that you've found are the things that you really are tied to and they've really helped you to become successful in your career?
I love your questions. Thank you. So I would say listening.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
imagine that's particularly important in your
mhm,
role because you really have to hear what people are and sometimes they're not always saying everything that they need to say.
exactly.
Um,
They, they say things and then you can feel behind that there's more. And just by being quiet and holding space for them to be able to what needs to emerge will emerge, what they need to say. And a lot of times people say, wow, I've never said that before, or I haven't thought about that. I didn't even specifically ask them about that thing. It came up from inside of them to share with me. And not only that, but sometimes just listening, I guess it's listening for at multiple levels, but sometimes listening for some of the coincidences that they'll say, like, well, I've been sick for 2 years. And then a few sentences later, they'll say, well, in 2022, which is 2 years ago, I was in a car accident or I went through a divorce. Like I start seeing the patterns. They haven't seen the patterns. Or they'll say, I moved houses. I moved into a different home. And so by listening and letting them speak, and sometimes it's not in succinct linear sentences, sometimes it feels like they're all over the place, not too dissimilar from me talking today. But if I give them the space, then I start seeing these patterns emerge out of what they're saying, and uh, it's powerful. Like I had a patient who has had episodes of vomiting, and she's been to the doctor. They can't figure it out, and I saw her a year earlier, and she had an episode, and then I'd seen her a few times, and then she came back, and she had another episode, and I was like, "What did you eat for dinner?" And she told me it was like chicken piccata and green beans. And I was like, "That's what you ate last December." And she's like, "No way." I'm like, "I don't know. Let's look through the notes." And for some reason, I could remember what she ate. I can't remember what I ate yesterday, but I remembered what she had eaten a year earlier, and we had figured out it was an ingredient in the meal that she was allergic to that was causing the vomiting. So that was a depth of listening that I didn't even know I could do. But I feel like that would be if people were to talk about me as a provider and what they like, they would say my skills for listening. Um, some of the other skills, I guess, are the fact that I do continue to learn, and I have developed a network of other providers that I can call and ask questions or refer to. And I've learned later in life that that's a skill. Not everyone has that. So a lot of people will call me, well, who do you know for this? And who do you know for that? And I was like, well, how come they don't know them? And I'm happy to share it, but it just occurred to me. I was like, wow, well, that's a skill. So going out and going to events, even when I don't feel like it, I work a lot, and the work that I do it's mentally and emotionally a lot, and yet I still show up at the networking events and to the nightly, sometimes like different vendors. That's another source of education I forgot to mention, but sometimes vendors, labs, or nutraceutical companies will have events, and I'll meet providers there, and they'll be the perfect person to refer my patient onto. So I feel like that's another skill that not everyone has.